Xbox Game Pass is changing. There are new tiers, features are moving, prices are increasing. There's just a lot going on, and we're going to cover what you need to know. Maybe you've heard that Game Pass has been the best value for gamers for a few years now, but is that still the case with all these changes that are happening in 2024? How did the tiers stack up, and what is the best value for what you want to play? Let's get into what we can expect from Xbox Game Pass, the prices, the number of games, what services we get, and finally where we can play games. And that's really a rather surprising list. So if Game Pass delivers on their core promises, then it should be a solid choice for most gamers and families, even if you don't own an Xbox. Xbox promises players they can be the first to play new games on day one, plus enjoy hundreds of high quality games with friends on console and PC and through the cloud. With games added all the time, there's always something new to play. That's literally verbatim off of their website. Oh, and you can do all this for $1 due. See terms and conditions. Yeah, okay. While technically true, that $1 is for 14 days and then an automatic renewal begins, and that's at $20 a month. So right now, as I'm publishing this video, there are 5 tiers of Game Pass, but we can no longer sign up for one, and another one's just for PC, so we'll focus on the main 3 tiers for console, which are Core, Standard, and Ultimate. And we'll lightly touch on the other 2, but those aren't really as important. The original Game Pass grew out of a thing called Xbox Live, and that came with Xbox Live Gold and Silver, but those were the original online multiplayer services. That's now gone, and in its place we have Xbox Game Pass Core. This provides players and families with the 3 core features of the Xbox Online ecosystem, centering on the online console multiplayer, including a limited catalog of at least 25 games and selected discounts and deals. As of this video, Core has 41 games available, and it changes every month or so. But do we get to keep these games? Well, if we claim the games on Xbox 360 or the OG Xbox, those games from way back in the day, we get to keep those games regardless of subscription status. Any Xbox One games we claim for free or Game Pass games we have available require an active subscription to actually play them. So we don't actually own them. Otherwise, Game Pass Core is pretty much a one-for-one copy of Xbox Live membership with those added games. It comes in at an even $10 a month or $75 a year, which is about a $15 increase in the annual membership from last year. Still, that's pretty much only paying for January through August and then getting the entire year. I'd be pretty happy with that, as it costs less than most streaming services like Netflix, but we were promised day one releases and a large collection of games with Game Pass, and I don't see either of those here on Game Pass Core. And for that, it ranks out at a very middling below average. Let's say D. Oh, and I also want to mention that if I say I have Game Pass and I set this as my home Xbox, anybody else that plays on this Xbox has access to Game Pass features on this Xbox. And if it's my kids, I can restrict them from more mature games and stuff via the parental controls. If I go to a buddy's house and I want to play there, if I sign in on my account, I still have access to all my benefits of my subscription, just they don't get it on their console, right? It's just me. The Game Pass subscription is tied to my account, not to the box. The next step up is Game Pass Standard, which builds on Core by keeping all 3 of those base services and adding in the catalog of several hundred games. Standard's model is kind of easier to understand than the old console tier, but it also comes at a higher price of $15 a month. There's no word at this time of an annual plan or anything like that. It's just monthly renewal cost. Okay, we've added in the massive catalog of the previously released games. I mean, seriously, there's over 400 games at any given time. Right now, I think it's 510. But I'm still not seeing the day one releases. Game Pass Console had them, and Standard is the replacement. Why? Game Pass Console had day one games, but had no online multiplayer. Standard has online multiplayer, but no day one games. And we can't sign up for console anymore, so that's just kind of weird. But what's weird is that if you have the console plan and you don't cancel it, it appears that you'll be able to keep it indefinitely as long as you keep the subscription active and play those day one games. But it is a feature that's intentionally missing from the Standard tier. I give Standard like S tier if it actually had the day one games, but since it doesn't, I'm thinking it's kind of like a B tier. It's a higher price, fewer games than before, but at least we have multiplayer and most of the backlog. And it is a little strange because Game Pass was advertised as that Netflix-like subscription service where gamers could sign up and play day one games published by Microsoft. That means Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, and other Activision and Blizzard games. But now we can't do that on 2 of the tiers. I personally think that that's a lot because of the revenue. So from a business perspective, it makes sense. But from a gaming perspective and from the consumer perspective, it feels a little disingenuous. And I'll elaborate more on that feeling when we get to where we can play, because it doesn't necessarily make sense. If you're thinking we're out of options now, day one games have to be behind the Game Pass Ultimate paywall, you're absolutely right. They come with additional in-game items and perks and up to 50% off Game Pass games on purchase. So if it's a game that's leaving Game Pass and you want to buy it, it could be up to 50% off without even doing a sale. And then there's EA Play and Riot Games benefits and cloud gaming. Oh, and all of PC Game Pass, that magical 4th tier that seems completely unrelated to the other 3. Yeah, that's all included. Game Pass Ultimate really is an amazing set of features, but it also costs $20 a month with no annual plan, so no free digital rent. In fact, we used to be able to stack up to 36 months and get a really cheap rate for the subscription through a conversion loophole. It appears that Xbox and Microsoft are closing that loophole September 12th, 2024, capping the stack at 13 months. I'll have a video on how to fix this kind of in the future, but it makes me a sad gamer that they're closing this loophole because it is so expensive. So the question is Ultimate worth it? Well, for most families and gamers, yeah, I think it is. So let's break down what Ultimate really provides and why I think for families and most gamers, the content is worth it if you have an Xbox or a PC. Let's start off, we have online console multiplayer, the full backlog of the games on console and PC. We finally get day one games and those releases. And then there are those other features which are just so good. One of those is EA, a company I would not normally recommend because they're kind of greedy corporate terribleness. They have a subscription service themselves and it's called EA Play that allows access to previous generations, kind of like Xbox Standard or Game Pass Standard. It has the previous generations of sports games like last year's Madden, PGA, F1, the MMA games, but it also has hits like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Mass Effect Trilogy, the Dragon Age series, Battlefield series, and probably my favorite game from previous generations, Titanfall 2. But there's also games like Peggle 1, Peggle 2, Bejeweled 2 and 3, Zuma's Revenge, Unraveled, Unraveled 2, and the Plants vs. Zombies series, which are all fantastic family games. So all of these games are included in the Ultimate subscription, and I did just check, and it's over 500 games on console and over 480 games on PC as of right now. Oh, and then there's the Riot Games and their benefits, which are, they own some incredibly popular games on PC, including Valorant and League of Legends. And what do you get with that? Well, if you download the PC Xbox app, that's how you install all the PC games that Microsoft is doing through the PC Game Pass. And then we can link the Riot and our Xbox apps together, and then we get access to every hero and champion in League of Legends and Valorant, and then a 20% experience bonus. And I think they have 2 other games on there. I mean, as a gamer, that's pretty nice instead of having to grind and pay for all those because our time's valuable. So getting that little bit of extra is just nice. But if we're just talking about PC gaming and we don't want to have to game on the Xbox consoles, then we have the PC Game Pass option, which is just $12 a month. And that gives us free online multiplayer. Yep, PC gaming is free online multiplayer. It's awesome. It still has the membership deals and discounts. The PC Game Pass library, which is slightly smaller than the console, but it's only maybe 20 to 30 titles, but it still gets day one releases included. It's an absolutely amazing deal for PC gamers. This is absolutely crazy how many games are available at $12 a month or $144 a year. That's about the cost of 2 AAA titles in a year or maybe 10 to 15 indie games on Steam. Totally worth the money by itself if you haven't played these games before or you want to play new Activision releases. So that was the magical 4th tier that doesn't really apply to console, but it's a really cool tier as a gamer, right? But we haven't touched the last little feature included in Game Pass Ultimate, which is cloud gaming. Cloud gaming is a neat concept. Instead of requiring you to be near a console or a PC, we just need a streaming device, a controller, and a strong, steady internet connection. Xbox takes on the computing requirements, hopefully somewhere near to where we're gaming, and sends the information over the internet. That goes straight to your device. And that streaming device could be your phone, it could be a PC web browser, it could be Amazon Fire Stick, right? The possibilities for where we game are increasing exponentially. Mobile, phone, web browser, or Amazon Fire Stick, yeah, we can play Xbox Game Pass games on certain Fire Stick 4K models. And at the time of this video, it's the 2023 model, the Fire Stick 4K and the 4K Max. I ordered the Max just to test this because it supports Wi-Fi 6E or MIMO, which means really steady internet and strong connections. I have good internet speed, I have steady connections to get the full benefit of this, and it requires a newer router and wireless access points to do this in a high-speed connection. There's a catch if you can get to this, right? I'm gonna test in greater detail and I'm gonna publish another video, but right now, my thoughts, my initial impressions is that the cloud gaming can be really good for casual, relaxing, and calmer games. The resolution, the fidelity, the response time, all of that is all solid for things that don't require crazy, like small latency. There's minor artifacting, some stuttering, but that's to be expected because not only are we receiving and displaying either a 1080p or a 4K image, we're also providing inputs to the game, which means that it has to render and transmit those signals really quick. One of the biggest gripes I have is that there isn't a Wi-Fi connection on the controller, so we have additional input delay as the controller has to go to the streaming device and then go to the remote server. And that leads to why I have some mixed feelings on cloud gaming. I'll publish that other video, but like, cool concept, but delivery can be hit or miss based on the type of game. If we're playing that higher fidelity and dynamic games, say that Call of Duty or Halo or racing or fighting games which require precise timing like Forza can be laggy and a little bit less responsive than having it run on a local machine. And that makes them nearly impossible to play in a competitive sense. I mean, from a technology perspective, I get it, but the decision to not make a cloud gaming tier as a standalone thing makes no sense. The titles that play best probably aren't the day one releases in 2024 or whenever you're watching this. They're going to be less dynamic, less input timing specific, and probably more family or couch co-op oriented, story-driven narratives, right? Not Call of Duty, fast-paced Twitch reaction type stuff. I looked it up, and at the time of publishing, this Video Game Pass Ultimate had 189 games rated either E for everyone or E10+. Perfect for families trying to game together. Another 133 were rated teen, and finally 188 were rated mature, because mom and dad need a game for their taste too. That's still over 500 games, and some of them have to stream well. I physically am not able to test them all, so some of you, if you have access to Xbox Cloud Gaming, leave a comment down below and tell me what games you found played well or the best or which ones to avoid, because I would like to say that the cloud gaming is worth it. But why Xbox is putting cloud gaming behind the $20 per month tier when the best games for cloud gaming aren't the day one releases? Probably cost. Cloud gaming is good, but it's not great. I don't think it's the reason why you should get Ultimate. I absolutely think it's a cool concept, but I can't recommend getting Ultimate for Call of Duty and then expecting to be able to cloud stream it. And I can't recommend getting Ultimate just to cloud stream. So does that negate the value of Ultimate? $240 a year, Ultimate comes in as more expensive than Netflix, but gives us over 500 games on console. It has access to the games on PC and the ability to play games on the go via the cloud. I mean, if you or someone in your family games, then yes, I absolutely think that this can be worth it. And I personally have Game Pass Ultimate and play most of the games on PC. And I have tried and liked new games like A Short Hike and A Plague's Tales series, there's 2 of them, via Game Pass. Not to mention I can get games that are appropriate for my kids. This is really what I like about this, is I can get games appropriate for my kids without spending $30 or $60 per game. This is especially helpful because they'll love a new game, but they'll quickly lose interest after they beat it and they're moving on to the next game. So I'm not spending $30, $60, $90, $120 quickly trying to get new games. So is Ultimate at its uber expensive level worth it? I mean, again, personal decision, but if there is a lot of gaming in your household, there are a lot of good games on Xbox Game Pass. They're ready to be played, but that is a hard sticker shock. Now, if you want Game Pass Ultimate, but don't want to shovel over $200+, then you should watch this video right there that is going to tell you how to do the conversion. If it is after September 12th, I will probably be updating it with a new video that specifies the 13 months and the conversion rates that's coming. This has been Wes from Ridir Gaming. Do good, play hard, game on, and I will see you next time.